Hi, everyone, and welcome to Abduction Victim to Survivor. I'm here with Sarah, my co host, and Lanae Holmes. And I'm very excited about this episode and to be here with Lanae. Lanae and I worked together for many, many years at the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children in the Family Advocacy Division. And you're going to see how amazing Lanae is. She does such a great job. She's very passionate about what she does, and she's dynamic and, and sorry, I just love her. I think she's great, and she does amazing work. And we're going to talk about some of the work that she's done. The episode is going to be on reunification. And what we call reunification is when a child who's been abducted by one parent is reunited with the searching parent after they've been recovered. And Lanae and I have we strive to do a lot of improvements on that so that there's the least amount of trauma involved. I have a little video clip of when my son and I were reunified in 1997 after he was recovered. Episode 1, I was able to tell you my story, and I talked about what it was like for us. And now I just want to show this video clip. It's at the airport in Houston, Texas. And in 1997, in March of 1997, which, keep in mind that happened so many years ago. And because of Lanae and her work, things are done differently today. And
It's really been your work,
well,
and a lot of team work
a lot of teamwork.
that went
Yes.
into
Yes. And Lanae is one of the driving forces behind it. So she's being a little too humble here. But I'm going to show this video clip. I'm going to share my screen, and then I'm going to tell you about what was on here, because a lot of people are just listening in and are not on YouTube actually seeing it. So here we go. Let's see how my skills are.
So just held on to each other for several minutes at Bush Intercontinental Airport. The FBI and New Jersey authorities had been looking for Samuel since last July when he left to visit his father, but did not return. The FBI eventually tracked the two to the little town of Alvin after receiving a tip.
We had information, and as you're aware, we did get a tip that they were in Alvin, Texas. I cannot disclose where that tip came from, but good cooperative police work where information is shared certainly assisted in this investigation.
Now, the boy's father, Stephen Fasto, reportedly lived in Alvin under an alias. He is now in custody for violating a court order regarding visitation rights. Authorities say Fasto also faces numerous charges in New Jersey.
Wow. Okay. So
every time I see it.
I know. Yeah. So that was at the airport in Houston, Texas. And what you see in this video clip are news media all over. And the FBI had actually told the news media that this was going to be happening at the airport, that a mother and child were going to be reunited. And they told them that they could come and they could film it, but they couldn't talk to us. But you see this microphone here? I mean, visualize 10 times this size over our heads, and the light was so bright from their lights on the cameras that if you saw the video, you would see me putting my hand over my on my forehead like this to block the lights. And then all of a sudden, this child runs to me and grabs me he was only missing for 8.5 months. And I say only because we know people whose children have been missing for years. I mean, Sarah was missing for so many years. And over that time of 8.5 months, he had put on 30 pounds. And if you watch the video, you'd see me push him away just a little bit so I could see his face to make sure that he was my son. And later I found out that the reason he ran to me was because he felt like that is what he had to do because the media was there. We weren't ready. I was a hot mess. I was so traumatized. He was so traumatized by the way that he was recovered. And it just impeded our healing and our connection, not just for a little bit, but for years. And I'm very grateful to Nick Mick and to Lanae for all the work that they've been doing. And Lanae is one of the people that spearheaded this. And I'm going to let her explain to you what was actually behind um, her gaining all this knowledge on what would be the right way, what would be the least traumatic way for the child and for the searching parent. And also, how do you, what's the word? How do you work with the abducting parent if the abducting parent is there too? So, Lanae.
Well, thank you so much,
You're
Abby and
welcome.
Sarah. It's
Yeah.
so great to sit here with both of you and talk about this. It is such an important part of the work that our team does at NCMEC. And I'll just talk a little bit about our division, if that's okay, and give
Yeah,
a little
that's
bit of
fine.
background. So the Family Advocacy Division was created in 2003, which would have been, I don't know, decades after
12 years? Oh,
NCMEC.
no, from today, but
Well, yeah,
yeah,
but
but
NCMEC was founded
6
in
years.
1984,
Yeah,
and then our Family Advocacy Division wasn't created till like 2002, 2003.
no, it
So
was later.
we're
Yeah,
talking over a decade that
yes.
the organization was functioning before there was a Family Advocacy Division. And I think that's really important because we didn't know what we didn't know in those early years as an organization. And so what we believed was finding missing kids was the end. It was the happy ending. It was the culmination, right, of
That's what the
all of
FBI agent said.
yeah,
He called it a happy
it's a
ending.
happy ending.
Yeah,
Finding missing kids, interrupting exploitation on the internet, our work was done. And it really took a lot of years for us to learn that for so many families, that is really when the work begins. And so we began listening to those families like yours, and so many families in Team Hope who began talking to us about the struggles that they were having post reunification. Once their child was found and they were put back together, no one knew what to do at that point. And so our division really was created to help families navigate the after. We were there to support during missing episodes, but certainly our job still is to help families navigate the after, the now what,
yeah.
right? So when I look at this video of you and Sam, I have so many feelings about it. And I will admit that in my early years working for NCMEC, I would see a video like that and I would think, oh, that's so great. I would be so happy. And I still am very happy for those family members. But I've learned so much about what's going on behind the scenes. And so much of the work that we have to do is around slowing that down, thinking about reunification more as a process and not an event is how we started to learn that when we slow down the process, we actually give families the time that they need to be prepared for that moment,
Right.
right?
And they need to be prepared well in advance
Mhm.
of the actual reunification, and,
Exactly.
that's where Team Hope comes in,
Absolutely.
and, we would help families, like, there it's never too soon
Mhm.
to help a searching parent understand, um what how they should act.
Mhm.
And the real unique problem with that, though, is that you don't know how the child is.
No.
You don't know what they've been told. You don't know how they're going to react. You don't know if they're happy to see the searching parent, if they're scared to see them. You don't know any of it.
And
So,
that goes back to so much about what that child was told
yes.
and the abduction story,
Hmm.
right? That
Yeah.
surrounds every one of these abductions. So once we started to learn from parents, and initially it was parents who we were talking to who were describing the challenges that they were having with their child and with, how to behave and how to parent this child in this, new normal
Right.
that existed. We started to get some insight, and then really, I will say, when we started to talk to adults who were abducted as children,
Yeah.
Sarah,
Hmm. Yeah.
Sam, I mean, when we were able to talk to those individuals that it happened to them, that's when our knowledge really just exploded. And we started to understand how that child could be feeling in a real unique way. And that helped us develop some reunification protocols along the way.
Right. I know that I was honored to be on a few
Yes, with me.
reunifications.
Yes, we did a
Yes.
few together.
And yeah, and I did one with Shannon,
Yes,
and
yes.
I actually did some with Child Find of America,
Oh,
and I helped them a few times
that's
too.
wonderful.
But and it's so intriguing, because I remember when I was first told about the plans on,
Mhm,
what to do. And it's like, okay, so you have to prepare the searching parent.
mhm.
So the searching parent can't be there right away to be with their child who they've
As
been,
much they want to be there.
yes.
Yes.
And I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know if this is right. I don't know if this is wrong. And finally I realized that, and it took me a number of years to realize how traumatized I was, and what a mess I was, and how I wasn't really prepared
Mhm.
to greet my son, not knowing how he would feel. I wasn't prepared to step out of myself, let him take the lead. um, I learned that from you,
Yeah.
all of you.
Well, right, we learned
Yeah.
it together,
Yes.
right? We
Yeah.
we
And
learned
from
it together.
Sarah,
Yeah.
absolutely, from Sarah and from others who were abducted as children. h- So valuable, the information, how, they shared their hearts with us,
Mhm.
and your trauma, you shared it with us so that we could learn and we can help others. I just wish that I had met you before, and
Thank
I
you, and
would,
I'm
yeah.
sorry. Yeah,
No,
I just I'm
go
jumping
ahead.
in, I'm jumping at the bit here. I
Yeah.
uh, you know, I it is so incredibly validating because when my mom and I reunited when I was 18, this was 1988, it was at JFK Airport, it was the 4th of July, and fireworks were going on around
Oh,
us.
goodness.
And we hadn't seen each other in 12 years, and I didn't tell anybody. I was all alone. I was afraid to tell anybody because I was afraid people would judge or try to get involved or try to talk me out of meeting my mom because people around me weren't sure who she was and were skeptical as well. So all alone I took the subway from Brooklyn to JFK, and I wanted to get swallowed up by the earth, by the tunnels, of the New York City subway, just barreling towards JFK. I felt like I was dying almost. And in a way, the old me was dying,
Mhm.
and there's a new me that was going to be born that day in many ways, but it was absolutely terrifying. and I had nobody and nothing to help me. And in my head was this idea, well, this is the great moment. Now everything's over. It's all great now. And that was, like you both said, that was just the beginning of a healing journey. And so the fact that parents and mental health professionals and experts actually care, and we're delving into this for everybody's sake, for the whole family unit's sakes. But for children, I thought that when I was going to be reunited with my mother, my childhood fantasy and nightmare was that I was going to be put in a wooden box. And I talked about this when I told my story in a few episodes ago. um, I thought that in my mind, I guess I thought the only way that I was going to be brought back to Norway and my mother was by force. So in my childish mind, that would involve putting me in a box for whatever reason. I don't know why exactly that, but I had nightmares for years about being shoved into a box and having my mouth, closed and a blindfold and being in a box. So it was absolutely terrifying. And yes, it was just the beginning of a healing journey. So just to hear people, to know that people care. And back in the late 90s, when I was at NCMEC, we
Mhm.
had a meeting. NCMEC hosted a meeting.
Yeah,
I remember
yeah.
I was there.
Right,
Yes.
right, right, right. It's
Uh,
amazing.
I was an intern at that point.
That's
yeah,
amazing.
I was there
And
too. Yeah.
right. And I
Mhm.
remember one of the lawyers at the time saying, I stepped in on some conferences going on or whatever it was, and they were talking about returning the child to the parent that they'd been missing from. And I said, "Whoa, wait a minute. It has to be done in a gentle way, and it can be traumatizing." And the lawyer at the time, God bless, she was just doing the
No.
right thing,
Yeah.
Yeah.
said, well, the child just has to be brought back to their legal situation. And I thought, excuse me, the legal situation. Well, maybe, but there's a child's feelings and heart there. And this was with all due respect to NCMEC, and this was just the conversation that we had, and she wasn't hearing me, and I wasn't really hearing her, I'm sure. But I remember thinking at the time, the legal situation, like, that to me felt like maybe the box, okay, it would be legal to send me back to Norway. That'd be the legal situation, but that would have traumatized me for life. So the fact that we all care about reducing the impact on every member of the family, on the weakest link, which is the child, is music to my ears. So I just wanted to pop in and say that.
Yeah, it is. It's wonderful that there is the family advocacy. And what about the FAON network?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
So part of what we created, and I will give kudos and all of the gratitude to my boss, Marcia Gilmer-Tullis, who started the Family Advocacy Division and started the Family Advocacy Outreach Network, which is a group of mental health professionals all over the country that have agreed to work with NCMEC and work with our families in their local communities to be the mental health resource for those families in need. Now, that sounds like a pretty, unremarkable, like, oh, sure, a therapist to meet with a family. Oh, no, no, no. This is a major feat.
yeah.
Let me tell you, for so many reasons. Number one, we believe in reducing every barrier possible for families and survivors that need our help. If you think about it, families that are searching for their missing children are dealing with a number of challenges in their lives: financial challenges, family challenges, spiritual challenges. I could go on and on and on.
Legal, law
Legal.
enforcement, warrants,
Oh,
all kinds of
so many
things.
things.
Yeah,
And then let's not add in any international kinds of challenges that happen with
that are
lots of our
horrible.
family
Yes.
abduction cases. So we're going to focus on family abduction. We're going to focus on those kinds of cases. We realized quickly that, number one, it is unethical, and I say this as a clinical social worker. It is unethical to ask a family to be able to navigate all of those challenges without support. And so our team, our amazing family advocacy specialists, work every single day to connect a family with the right mental health providers in their local communities. And in order to find the right mental health providers, we had to train them.
Yes, and the training is it's such a great training
Yeah.
that the division puts on for therapists because they have, first of all, they have people with lived experience telling their stories and how they were helped so that the therapists understand what's needed.
Yep.
And then they also have therapists talking about if they went to a reunification, what that was like to get those therapists up to speed on the reality
Yep.
of what this really is, because it's different than any other kind of therapy. You don't learn this in school.
Absolutely not.
You learn this with feet on the ground. Yeah.
Absolutely. And so our training, and we do trainings all throughout the year in lots of different ways, but our hallmark training is a 2-day, 2.5-day
Sure. Yeah.
in-person training for therapists that are free of charge to them. We bring those therapists together and we put together this FAON Survivors and Solutions training with lived experience folks and experts,
Mhm.
people who have developed great techniques and interventions and insights from working these cases. So those therapists leave that training with tangible tools because we're going to call them and we're going to ask them to do a reunification.
Yeah.
And so I want to talk about, Sarah, what you mentioned about feeling that you're feeling as that child on the train on the way to JFK, alone and trying to prepare yourself for that. I think one of the most important things we have learned about the reunification process is that every individual person involved in that process needs a support,
Yes.
right? And that support can be in the form of a therapist that we
Mhm.
bring to on site, and it could be that we bring several therapists because we've got a couple of people that we've got to support,
Right.
right?
Yeah,
Um,
you'll explain what happens, and then people really understand why you need a couple.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure, sure. Do you
Yeah.
want me to go into that now?
Sure. Why don't you do that?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I'll explain the reunification process and kind of talk a little bit about what we saw in the video of Sam, and you and Sarah, what you talked about being kind of alone in
Yeah.
this experience. So one of the things that we learned quickly is that everybody is showing up to this with their own lived experience, their own trauma
Yes.
from what had happened. The child is showing up with trauma
Yes.
because they are dealing with, like, they had one parent abduct them from the other parent. And these kids have love for everyone in their family.
Yes.
They really do. They really do.
Yeah.
And so that is a very confusing time for that child. And some children have explained the reunification using similar language as the abduction, right?
Yes, they believe that their recovery was another
Abduction,
abduction. Yeah.
right. And so as soon as we
Mhm.
heard that, we
Yeah.
realized, oh my gosh, we are adding trauma
Right.
to an already traumatic situation. So the child is being brought to a location,
Yeah.
right? Whether it's by law enforcement, so they've been taken from their abducting parent, put into, I'm gonna air quotes, custody, but that
Yes.
looks like they're getting arrested,
It does. That's what
right?
Sam thought. He thought he was getting arrested,
Exactly.
but that had to do with what his father told him
That's
too.
the abduction story,
Yeah.
right? And
Mhm.
all of those beliefs and memories
Yeah.
that are all confused. So we've got a kid showing up, or several kids. My goodness, when it's a family of kids, that's a lot, right? Because
Yes.
everybody's got their own stuff going on.
Yeah.
And then we've got a searching parent. And a searching parent is showing up completely hot mess
Yes.
express.
Hot mess.
um, with
Yeah.
all of their trauma and
Right.
all of their loss and
Mhm.
all of their anxiety about, you know, they've spent however long looking for, searching for,
Right.
actively trying to find their child. And here's this moment. And so I will talk a little bit later about what we learned in that retreat about where people's mindsets are.
Oh, yes.
But
Yeah.
we're now dealing with, we've got and in some cases there is an abductor
Yeah.
that's on the premises.
Yes.
And we've got to deal with that person.
Yeah.
And so when I think about this, what we've created is what we would call the trauma informed approach. And that means that we have to take into account everyone's feelings and everyone's state of mind.
Mhm.
So we start with having enough professionals and support people on site. That may mean Team Hope consultants or Team Hope volunteers. We've
Right.
done reunifications where we had Team Hopers come. We've got therapists there. We also will have to have law enforcement in many of these situations, but we spend time with law enforcement officers beforehand
Mhm.
to talk to them about how to approach these from um, a more supportive angle and less of the like
Apprehending the bad thing.
apprehension. Right.
Yeah.
That's a great word.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
and
we've
there's also
even,
family members too,
there could be other
from the
family members.
searching family, yeah.
Right. So there
Mhm.
could be other family members that have
Yeah.
also shown up to show support.
Yes.
So we think about a reunification team to include at least a support person, not the family members of the searching parent, because they kind of need support too.
They do, and they
Right.
need to be separated. Yes.
So we've got to have a team
Yes. Yeah.
that consists of professionals and support folks and law enforcement.
Mhm.
I mean, we could just go on and on and on because we might need to bring in translators because if people speak different languages, we want people to be, communicating in the language they're most comfortable with. We've brought in comfort dogs.
Yes.
When we know that the child loves animals, we'll bring a dog. And let me tell you, dogs do way more than people
Yeah.
when you think about bringing comfort. So, first of all, it's assembling the team and and having the team members know their role. That requires separating and slowing down the process of the actual first sighting, right?
Mhm.
We want to create space where the child can have someone to talk to about what they believe.
Yes, because they may not even know what's
What
happening.
exactly?
Here they were taken from the parent that they were with, whether it was a good parent or an offending parent, they're still taken.
And
They
it's
feel
still
like
their
they've
parent.
been abducted
Mhm.
again. And they're confused. Everybody is doing their thing. Law enforcement is doing their thing. They're concentrating on the perpetrator. And here's this child who has no idea what's going on
Right.
and is so afraid.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so we've done reunifications. You and I have done
Yeah.
reunifications with our team where we assign a mental health professional or support person to each member of the family. And
Yes.
then we communicate with each other about what you're learning about the child in their space. So we put them in
Yes.
separate spaces. We have someone work with the child to understand what they know and
Mhm.
what they believe. And sometimes we just want to talk to them about what do you believe is happening right now?
Yeah.
That information is helpful to share with the searching parent through their support person, because then the searching parent will need to prepare themselves
Yes.
for how to connect with their child for the first time.
Yes.
So that really can determine, do you run in and hug
Right.
or
That's the
not? Right? Does the child think you're dangerous?
right.
Then you don't want to run in
Right.
and grab your child right away. You want to give the child space. So all of those little nuances really, really matter. And when we slow it down, we're talking about giving, a couple hours
Right.
of this process
Mhm.
just to get us to get the emotions down just a little bit, everyone's space to express themselves.
Yeah.
And another thing that we implemented a lot was we'd ask the searching parent to bring items that they think their child will remember. So we would ask them to bring pictures or bring a teddy bear or bring a stuffy or whatever. And we would have the searching parent give the item to the support person who would give it to the child and have the child interact with the item first,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And have the child remember that or
Mhm.
remember that time. So
Can I
Sarah,
jump in? I'm
yeah,
sorry. Can I
yeah,
jump
go
in?
ahead.
Because that was actually terrible for me because what my mother brought was actually traumatizing to me. So I'm just wondering if that has been helpful in most cases.
Oh my gosh, Sarah, I want to hear all about this and why that was traumatizing for you, because we'll learn from that too. Um,
Uh, Absolutely. I mean, it could have just been pretty unique to my particular case. I don't know,
And the
but
time too, because it was 12 years, right?
well, actually, this is backing up. I was abducted when I was 4, and then when I was 6, 2 years later, my mother found us, or the
oh, okay.
Norwegian consulate, with the help of a lawyer, found us, and a new court case was started, and I had some time with my mother. But the first visit with my mom was in a courthouse in the Brooklyn Supreme Courthouse, and it was incredibly imposing for a little kid. It was huge and hall echoey and terrifying. And by that time, I had thought everything from my mother was dead, to that she was a Nazi sympathizer, to that she didn't care about me, to that she was going to take me back to Norway in a box. So
Terrible.
when yes.
Yeah, it
So
was
when I
awful.
first yes. So when I first was waiting for my mother to come in, and I remember this vaguely. It's like in a dream, but I remember very clearly this one part, that my mother sat down and she looked at me with eyes that were so hungry for my love and connection, and it was that in itself was completely overwhelming because
Mm-hmm.
I didn't remember her. I didn't remember what she looked like, nothing. So, and my name had been changed, my religion, my identity, I'd forgotten my Norwegian. I was an Orthodox Jewish child and not a little Christian child. That's just my cat coming into the room. Um, and so so she came in and brought some toys, so I guess she instinctively understood that this could be a way to connect, and, I understand that today, of course, but she showed me some pictures of me and her under a Christmas tree, and by that time, in I had my culturally, I had completely changed. I had become a little Orthodox Jewish girl.
Got you. Got you.
And so that Christmas tree was so foreign to me that
Mm-hmm.
it shocked me. It's like, "Wait a minute. I knew that it was me, but it didn't feel like me anymore at all." And what it felt like was her saying, even though she didn't say this, that this is who you're supposed to be.
Ah, okay.
So I
That's
just wanted to just
that is
throw that in there.
so yeah,
Mhm.
that's so incredibly important to add in here, Sarah. And a couple of things that you pointed out are part of what we want to consider too. Number one, we would never show any pictures or anything to a child until we understood what the child's beliefs were. So the separating the child and the parent is super important to get an understanding from the child first. We tell the parent,
Oh,
bring the pictures, bring the stuffy,
And
but we
put it in a nice box that's decorated,
yep,
and do not have them open it. Place it for them, and when they're ready, they can open
right.
it.
But
Yeah.
what's happening before that is communicating with that child
Mhm.
to understand what their current state of mind is, and then communicating that to the support person with the parent to say,
Mhm.
okay, nope, we're not going to do the pictures right now. We they're not ready. And so we would kind of tag team this, kind of approach to determine what would be the least traumatic connecting or connector
amazing,
that we could offer.
amazing.
But you're bringing up such a great point. And
Mhm.
also, we often have the parent bring those items, but we would, in some cases, when clear that there's a lot of disconnect, we wouldn't have the parent show the child the items. We would bring the item to the child. And so that the child does not have a reaction in front of their parent and is allowed to express their feelings about the item
Yes,
with
without
mental health professionals first.
yes.
Amazing.
And that way, we've learned too that the parent's version of what would be soothing may not be what's soothing. And I'll give you a really clear example of that. Um, in some reunifications, this does happen. Certainly, when there's been years and years of a child being missing, The searching parent may remarry. Right? They may
Yes,
remarry, they may have other children. We have so many searching parents whose first instinct, and I get it, as a person who, if my support person is my new spouse, I want to bring them to the reunification,
yes,
and we caution against that.
right.
We do, for the sake of the child and what the child might believe. And if
Mhm.
you bring your new spouse, that's going to reinforce the belief that they didn't love you enough, or they left you, or they whatever the
Or who is this person? First, they have to reunite with their parent who they don't know anymore,
and
depending on the
then
length of
yeah,
time.
and then figure out who this new person is in your
Right,
life. And so
right.
all of those nuances matter.
Mhm.
Wow. And
Yeah.
so in my case, I would imagine that if we had this kind of these support people, my mother would have known not to show me, certainly not the picture of us under the
The
Yes,
Christmas
Christmas
tree,
tree.
since I was identified as a very Orthodox Jewish little girl. So it would have
yes.
felt very jarring. Right.
And
Especially.
someone would need to support her through that, especially if she was really connected to her religion.
Hmm.
Someone would have had to explain to her and be there to support her through her feelings so that
Absolutely.
she would be healthy enough to be with you and accept you for who you are.
Right,
Yeah.
Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Because she needed support too in that case, and she didn't know what she did wrong. She said she saw that I froze, and she didn't know why. All of a sudden, I froze, and she said I turned a little bit away from her, and it broke her heart. But
Yeah. Of
I was terrified, I was
course.
terrified. Yeah,
Yeah.
and neither of us were able to talk about this for years and years and years and years and really understand it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
And one of the things also that works when you're talking about pictures is if it's been a length of time that there's been a separation, to show the child a picture of what the parent looks like now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Before they meet.
Yes, before they
Yes.
meet.
Give the child
Yes.
some time to acclimate to the
Right.
person that's so back to what you were saying about when you saw Sam,
Yeah.
he was barreling into your arms
Yes.
and you had to take a minute and be like, "Wait a minute.
Is this my
Is this my
child?
kid?"
Doesn't feel like my child.
So that
Yes.
same thing
Yeah.
applies
Yeah.
on both ends.
And he asked me too. He saw I was wearing my mother's wedding ring. Because it helped me feel closer to my mother, even though she had passed away. So had my father. So I wore that and he grabbed my hand and he said in the most angry tone, "Did you get married?" No, it's
Right?
grandma's ring. After he told me I looked terrible.
Oh my
So
gosh.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
So
nice to
this
laugh about it now.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. All those
Hmm.
lessons learned.
Yeah.
So the reunification process has all of these components to it. We learned first and foremost that we want to slow it down. We want to be able to understand as much as we can about what the child believes and
Yeah.
what that abduction, we call it the abduction story.
Yes.
What did they believe about their searching parent? What
Hmm.
were they told? And these are not truths, these are beliefs.
Yes.
So we want to talk to the searching parent about understanding what your child believes. And that work that we do with searching parents happens way before
Yes.
the actual reunification because that is a hard pill to swallow.
It's very hard. It is. I mean, knowing that you have to leave space for them to be able to talk about the abducting parent,
Yes.
about the times that they had with them, because hopefully there were good times.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When you think about it,
Yeah.
right? We have to talk to our searching parents a lot about
Yeah.
understanding that you don't want your child to have come back to you with a lot of traumatic
Yes.
experiences. You want that child to have fond memories and
Yes.
have had good times
Hmm.
with their abducting parent. But that's an extremely difficult
Oh, it's very hard.
phenomenon to accept.
Yes.
But one of the, most important things that we learned when we pulled together parents and their children for this retreat that we did several years later.
And we'll talk about on another episode.
Yeah, yep.
Yes.
Was just the understanding that the moment that the child is missing, that moment when the parent realizes the child is missing, we have learned that in most circumstances, that is exactly the moment that the parent's existence like stops. They're frozen in that time frame. They're frozen in their experiences with their child then. And many do not have the capacity. And why would they? It's a trauma moment to be able to um, experience life moving forward. This is where it stopped
For the
for the
parent.
parent.
For the
But
child,
then we
yeah,
talked to the
yeah.
kids, the adults who were abducted as
Mhm.
children, and learned that their life continued.
Yes.
And so now you're dealing, when you think about that, that was another huge lesson that we learned, is that the child, for the most part, is living their life. They are
Yes.
continuing with their life. Kids are extraordinarily resilient and can adapt to so many different environments, but the parent is stuck. And
Yes.
so when you bring people together with different existences,
Yes.
that also creates space where their healing has to happen.
Right.
Yeah.
The parent expects the child to be the same age
Mm-hmm.
at the
As they
recovery
were.
as they were when they were abducted. And, that's one of the things that we at Team Hope
Mm-hmm.
try and prepare the parent for. But no matter how much we prepare them,
Exactly.
still in their mind or in their hearts, they want their child to be that child that was taken.
Absolutely. It's
It's so hard.
it's so.
Yes. There's so many emotions. It's so complicated.
And
Yeah.
the child can't understand
No.
that feeling, right? They don't understand that feeling. However, we do learn that kids feel very compassionate towards their parent and they want their parent to feel better. And sometimes that can manifest in um, behaviors that are they're trying to soothe their parents through their grief. And that can be just another complicating factor.
Yeah. I know, Sarah, you had very strong feelings around that with your mom, and correct me if I'm wrong, where you felt guilty
Mm,
You
because you
know,
weren't that little child.
absolutely. I
Yeah.
mean, I find that at least with the people that I work with in my sort of informal supportive roles and formal with Team Hope, but through the years, talking mainly to adults or young adults who were abducted, um, and definitely in my case, the trauma, the before and after, I mean, it was reunification that ultimately turned my life upside down. Ultimately in wonderful and important ways. And it was, half of me was missing. I needed my mother in my life. But it also took me on a path of tremendous guilt because I did have that compassion. I mean, I was 18 when we reunited as a young adult. I was 17, 18. So I had the capacity to understand her in a deeper way. And my biggest fear going on that train, the A train to JFK Airport, was I can't possibly give her back what she's lost.
wow.
I'm giving her this American Jewish New Yorkish adult. Like she doesn't want that, I'm sure. I'm sure she wants her baby.
Hmm.
So and when we met and she spent 10 days or 2 weeks in New York, and she stayed in a hotel, and I came and visited every day after work, and it was excruciating because she said she loved me, and I remember asking her or thinking to myself, "Do you love the idea of me? How could you love me yet? Because, you hardly know me and I hardly know you." And
Yeah.
yeah, and there was tremendous guilt over the years and pain and the fact, and unfortunately for my mother, New York was very intertwined with the trauma. So the fact that I was very much a New Yorker and an American, I think, compounded the pain for my mom at the time. So I started to feel guilty about that and tried to kind of hide those parts of me. And I tried to go back to the name that I was given as a baby before I was abducted. And that just caused all kinds of confusion for my heart. And I found ultimately that I was trying so hard to give her back what she had lost and feeling so bad about what I couldn't give her back, and so confused and angry. And it all imploded. I imploded on myself. I ended up hurting myself a lot, like developed an eating disorder and severe depression, and went in and out of psychiatric treatment hospitals. I mean, it really was bad for years, in part because I just didn't know. I felt like I couldn't make it up to her. That was a part of it anyway, and then it was my own trauma and everything I'd gone through with my father, which was very difficult at times, and also was wonderful. I also lived a life and made friends and had life experiences and learned and grew and had spiritual experiences. It wasn't all bad because I was living a life, but so it was also incredibly complex and layered, and it took me many, many years to even start to go on a healing journey that gave me some peace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We cannot underestimate the impact, right? And you
Yeah.
just, Sarah, just described so beautifully
Mhm.
and so painfully how much of an impact these crimes have on every individual involved.
And it is a crime.
It's a crime.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's
Wow.
a crime, but I wanna say that my life wasn't a crime, and I know you both know that, but the
Yes.
life that I had that I had in all of those years wasn't a crime, but
That's so
being
beautiful.
taken
Beautiful.
but being taken abduction was an unbelievable crime, and I would have had a much better life. I can objectively say that now without too much defensiveness and fear,
Mm-hmm.
and because I can still accept who I am and my life experiences, but also very, very clearly and unequivocally say that what happened was wrong and shouldn't have happened. And my mother suffered so much. I'm her only child. So many years of incredible suffering and loneliness and pain, and that can all coexist with that compassion and
Yes.
understanding, with the full and rich life that those years also were a part of building. Because
Yes.
that what could I do? That I had to live my life. Thank
Of
God I
course.
had good experiences as well.
Yes.
But,
Yeah.
so now I'm
Yeah.
able to, it's
It's
not
so
all one or the other, but it's difficult.
it's
It's
so
difficult.
beautiful.
Yes.
Sarah,
Thank
just
you.
so it's so beautiful and complex
And
and
open.
open and vulnerable,
Yeah.
and what you're describing is that complexity of you are not the crime and your experiences are not the crime, and yet you've experienced the impact of being taken away from half of who you are and your
Yeah.
identity, but then what that means in trying to, sort of uh, bring those identities together and be the person that you are is remarkable.
Yeah.
We hear this so much. Some of the tangible, and Sarah, you described some really tangible markers of who you are, and your personality and what makes you you. um, and this plays out so much when kids who are abducted internationally learn another language and embracing
And
the
culture. Yeah.
culture.
Mhm.
And so you're describing this too, Sarah, of being, this person who a New Yorker and and a Jewish child, but then also there's a part of you that you didn't know about or didn't express. So when kids are taken overseas and they're immersed in another culture, we talk to the searching parent who's typically, here in the US, about embracing
Mhm.
that culture for
Right.
their child. Learn the other language.
Exactly. Don't expect the child to do it. Don't put everything on the child, but
Yes.
you learn that
And
language.
imagine
And
how
yeah,
that,
right.
for exactly the same reason, Sarah, the work
Mhm.
should not be on you to hold space for, everyone's feelings and emotions. We want
And to change.
and to change.
Yeah.
And so we encouraged searching parents to
Mhm.
be open
Yes.
and embrace their
Yes.
child for who their child is
Yeah.
and embrace that part of their child. But that's another extremely difficult.
It's very difficult because the searching parent will also be embracing the culture of the perpetrator,
Uh-huh.
of the
Mhm.
taking parent,
Yes.
and learning how to separate that and seeing their child as an individual who has these needs is
Mm.
very hard.
Yeah.
Ultimately, my mother has embraced my cultural identities, and I had to feel whole. Like, it was like, "Oh, you're half Norwegian and half American. Which half?" You know,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
Norwegian and American. I'm American and Norwegian, and I'm Jewish, and, and just feeling whole, and then names and all of these things, like, starting to feel whole again. And some of that was really helped when my mother started to recognize these things on her own without she didn't have any
How
support to
wonderful.
understand this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and started to embrace it all, and I finally felt safe and comfortable enough to move to Norway for 10 years and
Mm.
learn Norwegian and get to embrace that part of myself when I and but I had to feel safe enough first to feel that I could go there without being swallowed up by Norway, and that my American and Jewish identity would somehow have to be left at the border.
Yeah.
Right.
And it really is so complex, but the hero parents are the ones that can leave, and we're asking the world of parents who've been through so much and have been traumatized by the what the other parent has done. But when they can leave and hold space and even embrace that, if it's a multicultural marriage or relationship that brought that child to the world, if they can hold space for that and embrace it, because and zoom out, try to zoom out, that one person doesn't represent an entire culture, that there's this beautiful culture. And yeah, and usually there's so much good food, if nothing else, that embrace it. So yeah.
Food, music, dance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, right.
Yeah. Yeah. But, going back to the beginning, Lanae and your colleagues do so much preparation work.
Yes.
And sometimes you only have a half a day or a night to do it.
Uh-huh.
So they have to liaise, I would say, with law enforcement
Mhm.
and help law enforcement understand what needs to be done for the sake of the child and the searching parent. And then you have to find a therapist who is able to drop everything.
Mhm.
I mean, their practice, everything,
Mhm.
and not charge anything and go to the airport or the train station or wherever it has
Mhm.
to be there to work with the searching parent or the child, or have a few therapists,
Mhm.
have a peer support person from Team Hope go and be with the searching parent, help prepare them, contact the airport and see if you could get private rooms,
Yeah.
one room for the child and their support people and one room for the searching parent and their support people,
Yeah.
or the train station, or wherever they're going to be. And this has to be done in a heartbeat,
Yeah.
because maybe the child they've already been recovered by law enforcement, or maybe it's going to be tomorrow, or maybe they don't know and we know where the child is, but then they go there and then the child is gone
Not there.
again with the
Yep.
perpetrator. So you just, it's such
It's
hard
a lot.
work, and it's
Yeah.
boom, boom, boom. And yeah.
It's a lot of prepare and wait.
Mm-hmm.
That is why our training is so important for our therapists, because we want them to be prepared that we may
Yes.
call you for this short term. We call it a short term intervention. We're going to ask you to give us a free couple hours of your day initially. We're going to ask you to help facilitate a reunification for us. We are going to either walk you through it, like we will be on the phone with you the entire time if we cannot physically be there, the staff at NCMEC.
Yeah.
Um,
Or sometimes you are there if
if it's
it's close
local,
enough.
yeah.
Yeah.
The space, we have great relationships with federal liaisons, federal partners that work, in NCMEC's facility that can help us with, getting access to airports and TSA. And sometimes we get those gate passes where we can go behind security and have private rooms. to, again, our whole goal is to slow this down and to give this child and their parent a minute
Yeah.
to just, kind of get their bearings. That is just the first step, though, guys. That is not the whole reunification.
Right.
And then the work begins at home.
Yeah.
And sometimes at home means that the child, we've had many situations where the child may not go home to the parent right
'Cause they're
away.
scared.
They're
Yeah.
uncomfortable, but they understand or remember their auntie
Right.
or their grandma. And so family members
Mhm.
become super important in those cases. Um, and those are the things that people don't know. You don't see that on the media. You don't see the you know, backstage work going on. The media still shows
Happy ending.
yeah, the happy
Yes.
reunification. And
Ah,
let me be clear, we want that to be shown. We want people to know that kids come home every single day. We want the public to continue to support us. The posters of missing children are the number one way that we find kids, through our posters. And so we want, and parents who are searching want their kids' faces out there, right? So we have a great relationship with media partners, but at the same time, we've worked really closely with our media team to help them understand when we need privacy
yeah.
and when the families need that
Yes.
space. And so
That's
we've had some incredible reunifications happen behind the scenes where
yes.
no one saw them.
Yes, those are
Those are
wonderful.
great. Yeah.
Yeah, those are wonderful.
But,
Yeah.
we work with all kinds of cases.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is urgent. The kid is in the air and we have to assemble a team.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have a couple of days or a couple weeks to plan them.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
that's really where our team shines in
Mhm.
those cases.
Yeah.
It's so incredible.
Lanae, you have done a great job of explaining this and
Thank
reunification because
you.
this is my passion because
Yes.
it was so horrible for my son
Hmm.
and not so great for me either, but horrible for him. And so it really is my passion and I love the work that you're doing. Uh, if you have one thing that you want our audience to know, what do you want to leave them with?
Oh my goodness, you're putting me on the spot.
I am, I'm sorry.
No, 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 no. Um, I I just want everyone to believe that families can heal from trauma,
Mhm.
that kids are resilient, and that with support, families can become stronger, um, in spite of what's happened to them, and that what happened to them doesn't define who they are as people.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah, you're
you. Thank you
welcome.
Thank
so
you.
much, Lanae.
Thank you so much to both of you, heroes of mine. Both of you
And you're
amazing,
our
amazing
hero, Sarah.
people. Thank you, thank you. This was so healing to me, even now as a mom and after all these years, it's so healing to know that you care so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so very, very much.
Yes.
Before we end,
Yes.
we are going to share a poster of a currently missing family abducted child. And so give me a moment, some technical stuff here. And here we go.
There you go. Yes.
Yes.
He's
So
so
we
cute.
want He's so cute. So we have a poster here for those of you who are watching of a little boy named Jasper Michael Spears. He's been missing for almost a year since December 7, 2024 from Chattanooga, Tennessee. His age now would be 1, maybe he's between 1 and 2 at this point. His possible associate, so Jasper was allegedly abducted by his grandfather, it says here, whose name is Timothy Young, and his step-grandmother, Kendra Young. There's a felony warrant out for his kidnapping for both Timothy and Kendra. And on January 9, 2025, the warrant was issued for the arrest of Timothy and Kendra for kidnapping a minor. Our Timothy is 58 years old and Kendra is now 50. And so you never know if anybody has any information. You can contact the Catoosa County Sheriff's Office, which is in Georgia, at 706-935-2323. You can always contact 1-800-THE-LOST or call 911. And we thank the National Center for highlighting his and so many other children who are missing, exploited, abducted, and runaways. So thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Abduction Victim to Survivor. Thank you so much, Lanae and Abby, for a wonderful, informative, just incredibly heart nurturing episode. And thank you so much to all our listeners. Thank you so much.
Thank
Take
you.
care. Bye
Thanks
for
again.
now.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Bye.